want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
We are the Mad Men of Masculinity.
Your home for healthy masculinity. We're just real men having real conversations for you. Good day, Mad Men Mafia.
Yo, I am Kirk M. Samuels.
And I am Jason B. Kendrick.
And we are the Mad Men of Masculinity.
That's right. We're just real men having real conversations for you.
That's right.
Yeah, man.
What kind of real conversations we having today, man? This is guy talk, man. If y'all don't know, this is just guy talk, man. This is just guys just talking about stuff. Sometimes it's, sometimes it's people. Sometimes we might bring somebody on, talk about something they got going on or some kind of whatever. And sometimes it's something specific. And sometimes we just talk about stuff, man. We just talk about stuff. I mean, guys need to be talking about stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we had to make a pivot because we had scheduled things and then things didn't work out because you know what? Sometimes we all got to deal with a struggle bus. And, for me, September was all struggle bus. And so we figured, you know what? We're two dudes. We've all dealt with a struggle bus. We haven't talked about it in a while. Let's talk about a struggle bus.
Yeah. Yeah. You get to certain places in life, man. And for me, it comes in waves, like, ebbs and flows. I think life comes in waves. Life just has a rhythm to it. Whether it's the ocean or just driving, mountains and valleys, the weather. I look out, today happens to be cloudy and cold. Over the weekend, it was sunny and nice. And, I didn't get any golf in because the weather said it was going to be rainy all weekend. So I just didn't even plan on nothing. But in any case, man, life just comes in waves and cycles and all that kind of stuff. And in the course of my life, that's for sure. And, a lot of other people I know, one of the things that comes in waves is just times where you just struggling, dude. You just on the struggle train, man, just busting it, just trying to make it through.
Yeah, it seems like, I mean, you made a great point that, life goes in cycles. Everything is in cycles. Life is cyclical. We all go through ups and downs and light and dark moments. And, sometimes you have plans and, the divine or God, whatever, has other plans. And so you end up struggling because you think it's going to go one way. And of course, the old saying goes, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. And so, yeah, we always end up struggling at some point. And of course, in my experience, and I want to talk to you about this because I know you've had similar experiences, but when you're on the struggle bus, when you are struggling, when things aren't going your way, it's, I think, how you handle it, how you deal with it, how you look at it, whatever your perspective is at that moment, that really determines how long you stay on that struggle bus versus how quickly you can get off of it.
But maybe sometimes we rush to get off the struggle bus. Maybe sometimes we so anxious to get off of it that we don't realize that, there's a lot to be gained while we're in that spot, in that place. Maybe it's the times where we're in the valley. Yeah. One of my favorite kind of ahas in life was that, here in Colorado, we got these 14ers, right? And people go climb the 14ers and they, I forgot how many of them it is here, but it's a bunch of them. And people go climb the 14ers, and I did it once because, because black people don't go climbing 14ers. No, but no, I mean, I did it once, and one of the realizations when you get to the top of a 14er is that 14er meaning 14,000 feet in altitude at least. And once you get up there, you realize that there's not a lot living up there. There's not a lot of life at the mountaintops. All the life is down in the valleys. Like when you up there and you look down, all the greenery and the rivers and all that kind of stuff. Matter of fact, there's a tree line on the mountain where literally the trees just stop growing because of the altitude. And so, a lot of times, man, a lot of times I wonder if we try to get off the struggle too quick and maybe miss the lesson that we're supposed to learn while we're in that place.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think you're absolutely right. For most of us, it's all about, this it's a business model. It's all win-win. We got to be in eternal growth and everything has got to be up and up and you got to, make more numbers than you did last year and you got to make more money than you did last year. And sometimes we don't stop, smell the roses, we don't get our hands dirty, we don't get in the earth, and we don't take the time to actually be present in the moment and go, well, what is this trying to teach me? A lot of times failure is the best teacher, pain is the best motivator. All these things that we consider are negative or that we consider to be struggle, maybe they're not really struggle or maybe they're not really negative. It's just your mindset on it. And then to your point, if you stop, get another perspective, maybe look at it a different way. I mean, I always try to live by the motto of everything's happening for my best interest, everything's working out in my favor. And even when it doesn't look like it, I try to keep that model going because it can be, I mean, you can get down in the dumps, you can get real depressed, you can get real low when you make plans and they don't work out and you think things are going one way, then it turns, smacks you in the face and you lose a job, you lose friends, you lose different things. But if you can keep a positive mindset or just even a bigger picture mindset of this is this too shall pass, and what am I learning from it? Maybe I wasn't supposed to keep that job, maybe I wasn't supposed to keep that friend, maybe I wasn't supposed to have those things because they're not in tune with what I want for my future. They're not in tune with the greatest version of my life. They're not in tune with the things that I want for myself. And so, like anything else, every sculptor, he creates a sculpture by taking away. He creates that sculpture by taking away clay or taking away stone. He creates that art by sometimes taking away things to reveal the masterpiece underneath. And so, to your point, I mean, if we're on the struggle bus, I mean, if you're not paying attention, if you're not learning from it, just like anything else, if you don't learn from your past, you don't learn from your mistakes, you're going to repeat them. So, if you're on the struggle bus, the best thing you do is stop, take a moment, and try to learn what this lesson is trying to tell you.
I'm a completely jack that whole metaphor that you just gave with the sculpture. I've never thought of that, never heard that before, but that's pretty dope. Um, that and that's how we're made. We're not made from the addition. Sometimes we're made from the subtractions and from the things that are chipped away from us. And um, I can remember walking into a job, walking into work, thinking everything was normal. Shoot, it happened in the last couple of years. Walking in, it's a normal Tuesday like every other Tuesday, and and uh, and get a meeting invite. To everybody on our whole group got a meeting invite. Well, we realized we got two. There were two different meeting invites. One of them was for 9 a.m. One of them was for 9:45 a.m. Down in the conference room down on the first floor. And once we started realizing who was in what meeting, it was like, okay,
Uh-oh.
all the newest people were the team were at the first meeting. Um, and so as we were walking down, down to the elevator and going down to the first floor, it was kind of like, all right, I think I see what's about to happen here. This ain't my first rodeo. And sure enough, you walked into a conference room and there's like the executive VP and the HR lady and a stack of envelopes. And
Mm.
walk in and yeah, I mean, especially in the corporate setting, man, it can be pretty brutal. I mean, they don't care at all, man. It literally is like, here's your envelope, everything you need to know is in there. Um, Now somebody has to watch you pack up your desk, kind of thing. So, give me a badge, give me whatever it is, and and then life changes, and then all of a sudden, you walk out of the door with a box, and and it's like, now what, and so yeah, you talk about the struggle bus, you talk about just the life lesson and the valleys or whatever, you just get, kicked in the guts. If you're a guy, you've probably experienced getting kicked in the nuts at some point in life, with something, some period of time where it was a setback. And so yeah, and I look back though, and man, in the year and a half since, like, I've been able to upgrade my career and just all kinds of things. Like I've seen it work out, over the past year and a half, where I'm actually better off now than I was in that job. So, but those things are going to happen, and you got to learn the lessons while you're in the classroom.
Yeah, I mean, when you get kicked in the gut, when the rug gets pulled out from underneath you, yeah, it's gonna suck. You're gonna feel down. I mean, I was having that issue recently where I was just like, "Oh, great! I had this plan and I had this thing that was gonna get me through the next couple months, and it was gonna work out and be extra money." And then it's like, "Nope, let's take that away." And oh, I had the book launch and all these different things that didn't go the way I wanted them to. And then of course, timing is everything. Like I thought this would be a good day. It wasn't a good day, especially with everything that happened afterwards. So these things happen, but keeping a positive mindset of, you survived all your other days, you can survive today, you survived all your other struggle bus moments, all your other getting kicked in the gut moments, and you're going to survive this one too. But I think sometimes having others around you for a different perspective or being able to vent and just be like, hey, this sucks right now. I need to vent. I need to talk about it so I can get it off my chest. But always thinking about the future in a positive way really, I think, helps. When it helps you like reformulate, it helps you ride the waves or ride the rapids of life where you're like, okay, this is not good. This is not what I want, but I can actually take this to something better if I keep a positive mindset. If I keep my head up, I keep my mind right. Yeah, give yourself a day or two to be in your feelings. Give yourself a day or two to be like, this sucks, I'm depressed, and this shouldn't happen to me, boo hoo wah wah. But once you've had that day, then now it's time to get up and what's next? Okay, that sucked. Now what? How can you make this better? How can we move forward? And I think for a lot of us, we've been trained that victim mindset of victim and misery loves company. So we want to complain about it and then keep complaining about it and keep recreating the story and keep talking about it and keep being a victim of it instead of being like, okay, that sucked, that hurt, let's move on. That sucked, that hurt. What next? How do I make this better? What can I take from this? What can I learn from this? And a lot of times you need some boys around you, and we keep talking about it. We will always talk about it. You got to have a group of guys around you to make sure when it's struggle bus time, you got guys there that you can vent to, that you can talk to, you can get a perspective of, and then they will help you get back up and help you remind yourself that now what? What's the next step? What are you doing now? Like, oh, I just lost that job. Well, guess what? There's more jobs out there. Oh, I just lost that relationship. It's more plenty of fish in the sea. I just lost this, that, and the other thing. Well, there's more things out there, but you got to get up and dust yourself off and keep it moving. And speaking of keeping it moving, I think it's time for us to move ourselves into a break. So we'll be right back. We're the Mad Men of Masculinity. You're listening to us on KLDC. We'll see you in a minute.
Boom. Maybe we can get into some how to bounce back and how to recover in certain areas. I'll talk about relationship.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'll talk the heartbreak and heartache bounce back that I learned anyway.
All right, then let's talk about it.
Let's do it. Let me get my
my
big old watch face happens to have a stopwatch.
Yeah, I tried to get a big one like yours, and it just my wrist's too small.
Everybody making fun of my watch.
Yeah, because it looks weird. Overcompensating
for something.
Ready?
And we're back. Mad Men of Masculinity on KLDC, 1220 AM in the Mile High City and on the interwebs everywhere.
I like it.
Everywhere. Podcast platforms, your mama and them's house, all of that kind of
stuff. There. Man.
So
make sure you make us a plate. We're coming over.
Holla, your boys. Today we got a topic, man, that it may not be sexy, but it's real. And that's the thing. I like that we get into real stuff. Every single person that could ever be listening to this particular episode, show, whatever you want to call it, one day is going to go through all of this stuff that we're talking about. And the fact that we don't talk about these things, when you do go through them, first of all, you feel like you're the only one, and you feel like there's something wrong. You feel like there's something broken because you got a bad place in life. You're in a drought, or you had some failure, some setback, or you just struggling to get with it, or whatever it is. And so, we need to be able to talk about this kind of stuff. We need to be able to relate and to know that you're not the only one. A lot of times I'll try to frame life in a way that when I get, when something doesn't go my way, I try to frame life to say, like, somebody wishes they had my problem today. Like, there's somebody out there that has it worse. That doesn't take away what I'm experiencing, and that's not to say, that's not to diminish the experience that I'm going through. But either way, I try to put it in perspective. Like, there are people with, like, literally, end of life problems kind of thing, and somebody got a bad call from a doctor today, and somebody, et cetera, et cetera. And so, as much as I try to put it in perspective, I do try to honor the experience and learn something from whatever it is that we're going through. And that's kind of where we left off of that last segment there, in terms of learning and life
Yeah.
lessons.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't plan for it, it's almost like health insurance, it's life insurance, car insurance. If you don't plan for the struggle times, then they're really going to catch you off guard. If you don't look at life through a positive perspective, or you don't shift your perspective when you're in the struggle on the struggle bus, then it's going to take longer. It's going to be harder. There are a lot of things, especially we as guys, are going to have to deal with. We all used to, especially like Kirk and I, we grew up in, with Gen X. And so a lot of times you tell mom, life ain't, that's not fair. And she would tell you, well, life's not fair. And that was the whole conversation. And it's not about your feelings. It's not about what you thought. It's like, life's not fair. Suck it up, keep it moving. Especially for men nowadays, there's a lot of things that may be working against us, or may feel like we're, pushing that boulder up the hill, but we got to keep it moving. And so having a better perspective, like using Kirk's example, some people have it worse than you right now. They wish they had your problems. They wish they had lost that job or that relationship, because their problems are so much bigger and so much worse that yours seem small. Not to demean your problems, not to say it doesn't suck, but shifting your perspective, like, other people have it worse, so I can make it through this, because if they're making it through that, then, I can make it through this. But also having just a positive mindset and being prepared. We as guys are going to deal with sucky things. Just know it's going to happen and be prepared. You go to the gym all the time to stay strong. You don't just go to the gym once and be like, okay, I'm good. I'm healthy now. It's a consistent thing. And so you do that to stay healthy and strong. Well, you also have to be prepared for times when life's going to suck. You have savings, you have insurance, you have all these different things that we prepare for. So I'm not saying expect it, but you want to, it's almost like the saying of expect the worst, hope for the best, expect the worst. Be prepared, at least have a plan, have a contingency to know that when things go bad, you have some people you can lean on, you have some people you can talk to, you have a support system, and you have some contingency plans so that you can make it through that tough time. 'Cause a lot of times we get caught off guard, and if we had a plan, we can make, what is it my dad used to say, nobody plans to fail, they just fail to plan. Plan for struggles, and you'll make it through a whole lot easier. I mean, whether it's financial, whether it's relational, whatever the struggle is, if you plan, or you at least have an idea of what you want to do when you have those struggles, you'll come out a lot better on the other side.
Yeah, one of the things that, one of the areas in life where quite often you're going to have some kind of a struggle bus or some kind of experience is in relationships, man. I mean, I've been through divorce twice. And in addition to that, man, in addition to that, besides that, I've had my heart broken, or I had relationships fail, and those sorts of things. And I can vividly recall sitting on the side of my bed just weeping, just weeping at life, at different aspects. And you know all of those circumstances, have some things in common. um and in terms of relationship failures, in terms of relationships falling apart, or disappointment, or heartbreak, or whatever you want to call it, the perspective that the sun is going to come up tomorrow. um and because of that, there's a chance that tomorrow can be okay, or tomorrow can be better than today. More specifically, if you think that, if you can keep in mind that tomorrow could be better than today, um then there's hope. And as long as you got hope, you got everything you need, really. And so, and even in those circumstances, especially for guys, when we have relationship failures or breakdowns, we often find ourselves alone and by ourselves, sitting in maybe a new home, a new place, a new environment, and you just, you look around and it's like, man, what happened? I had this, I had that. There are guys that, had the big house in the cul-de-sac. That was me. And all of a sudden you look around and it's like, well, wait a minute, that's gone. Half of what I had in the bank is gone, or whatever it is. And then you look around and you think, now what? And the now what is, now I see what tomorrow holds. And then when tomorrow comes, you don't just sit and wallow. I'm talking specifically to guys who are in a relationship bounce back, a relationship struggle bus. You don't just sit around and do nothing. You pick yourself up and you get out of the house. You get out in nature. You go to the gym, or you go on a walk or on a hike or something, but get outside. Get outside as a reminder of life is bigger than just this moment. Like, man, these leaves fall off this tree every single year, and every single year those leaves grow back. And all those kinds of things come into perspective when you get out of your space as a guy. Otherwise, we can get trapped in our head. And when we get trapped in our head, then, when trapped in your head, then, then you're trapped in the dead.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that we all deal with, but it's funny, like you said at the beginning of the show, like we don't want to talk about it. So many times we don't want to talk about the real stuff. Like, hey, life's gonna suck sometimes. Hey, maybe that relationship's not gonna last. Maybe she gonna take half your stuff and you're gonna be in an apartment, sleep on your buddy's couch or whatever. We don't talk about it, but I think we should. I think, it ain't sexy, but it's real. You gotta talk about the times you struggle. And I think if we as guys spent more time just expressing that, just talk about that, we would realize we're not on an island. We realize that everybody struggles, especially dudes, and that it's okay to express that as long as you're venting to get it out and then planning to move forward and making a plan to, what are you gonna do next? Like that's the biggest issue, I think, is that a lot of times we get stuck in that and we think, very linearly, or like as you get depressed, the tunnel vision starts and it gets smaller, smaller, smaller until you get to the point where all you see is just this little point of light in front of you. You don't see the rest of the world, and you get so stuck in that moment that you think this is it. This is all there is, and I should just probably leave. I should probably just take myself out. And that's never the answer, because there's always tomorrow, like Kirk says. The sun's going to come up. There's always more time. As long as you got time and another day, you can create a whole nother life. You just don't allow this one to take you out. You don't allow this depression or this thing to be the last thing. Don't get so tunnel vision focused on what's going on. And that's why having guys around you and a crew and some sort of spiritual practice, something to help you elevate and open your eyes and get the bigger picture. There's a thing called hakalau, which is that wide, almost what they call prey view, or prey sense, where you open up your vision and you can see more of the world. You can see more. Predator is very, I'm focused on my prey. I'm focused on this one thing. And as guys, we tend to get too focused a lot of times on the struggles, on the failures, on the things, and we don't open up our vision enough to see the rest of the world and see that there's other opportunities. There's other things going on besides just that. And so as a guy, knowing that that's our linear thinking, that's our modus operandi for focus, like we're the predators, we're focused on the prey, and that's all we're focused on. And then, oh, that failed, I didn't get the prey, I didn't get the job, I didn't get the success I wanted, I didn't get the girl. And sometimes we stay so focused on that it can end up taking us out. So having somebody there to shift your perspective and to use a little hakalau, use a little widening of perspective, open up your vision and look at the vista, look at the horizon, and see that there's a whole world out there, and it's more than just this one thing that you're focused on right now.
Yeah, I mean, relationship wise, man, guys take heartbreak very bad. I think if I were to guess, of course, I'm not a woman. I've never been through a heartbreak or breakup from a woman's perspective, but I don't think guys get the credit for how relationship breakups are on us. a lot of times our whole social structure in life is based around the relationship that we have with, let's say, a woman in our life. Her social circle becomes our social circle, or vice versa. And so we don't have much outside of that. And so a lot of times when relationships end, we often look around and we don't have anybody else like in our life that's just us, or just a me kind of thing. Like, who do I hang out with now, who doesn't, who's not tainted by somebody else's opinion, or the breakup, or whatever it was. I mean, I remember in the past that at the end of a marriage, other people's kids were looking at me weird. Like, man,
Mhm.
what are they hearing? And so I just completely lost that circle. And so from a guy perspective, again, we say it all the time, but it's another reason why it's good to have your guy circle of friends. Just your guys that you go do stuff with, just you and just your
Mhm.
guys, to keep that social circle intact, which makes you stronger in every other way.
Yeah, and speaking of that social circle, I think it's time for us to circle ourselves around, take ourselves a break.
Love
We're
it.
the Mad Men of Masculinity. This is KLDC, and we'll be right back.
Nice.
Do it.
So where else do we struggle bus? Relationship. What about career?
Career, yeah, we'll talk about that next. I got a good
Ooh,
story
yeah.
for that one. Recent
Yeah.
story. It's close to
All
my
right.
heart on that one.
It's fresh.
It's fresh. Fresh. It still hurts. I might tear up.
It's very fresh. Cool. Well,
All
let's
right.
do it then.
All right. You ready?
Yep.
And we're back. Welcome
Yep.
back to the show. It's Mad Men, y'all. Mad Men Mafia represent. We're
That's
talking about
right,
struggle
man.
bus today.
Yeah, I know our madmen out there are going through some stuff, and the
Mhm.
Madmen Mafia, and we go through the struggle bus in several different areas in life. One of them we just got finished talking about relationships, but what about careers? What about in our career where we have dry spells or deserts or disappointments or anything like that?
Well, you talk about my September. Let's unpack it because it's fresh. It's just now October, and I just did my third book launch right there, Facing the Devil in You. I picked 9/9/2025 because the number added up to 999, which is the ending of a cycle. And I was like, well, this is the end of an old cycle. It's the beginning of a new cycle. It's a great day to pick it. I'm gonna do my book launch, but I hadn't done Facebook Lives using the Facebook platform before. I've always used StreamYard. I haven't done a virtual book launch before, so I wasn't quite sure how I was doing it. And to not put too fine of a point on it, it failed miserably. I had two
Hmm.
people show up, and I was on the thing, and I thought I was in the right place. They showed up somewhere else, and so it didn't look like anybody was there. So I talked to myself on the virtual book launch for 5 minutes and was like, "Oh, I guess nobody showed up. Okay, go about my day." And if that wasn't bad enough, the next day we had an assassination, a school shooting. The day after that, it was a 9/11 anniversary. And it was just kind of like, okay, abject failure. I'm an abject failure. This is awful. Like, what am I doing? Why am I even trying? Nobody listens to me. Nobody wants to hear what I have to say. All those thoughts went through my head. And to add insult to injury, I picked up a bar job for make a little extra money while we go through this, shoulder seasons here in Breckenridge and before the resort opens back up. And I got to work for about a month before it was like, you know, I didn't have the experience anymore. I needed more time to get up. They needed somebody who was plug and play. Plus, my social anxiety had kicked in on one of the first days. I made stupid jokes to people and tick people off. And so that made me feel like a failure. So not only did my book fail as far as the launch goes, not only did I lose a job, but then, I lost friendships and things like that because people didn't want to hear my side of the story or didn't want to give me the benefit of the doubt. So sometimes when we're trying to do things, they don't work out the way we want them to. And it can be very difficult, especially as a guy, to deal with that failure and to put it into a proper perspective and be like, oh, because I felt like, well, this is it. Why even keep trying? Like I put all this years of effort into this book. I put all this time into, trying to make money and pay rent, and then it all just blows up in my face. And so if I didn't have Kirk and other people, it might be a different conversation we're having. But luckily I have some experience with this. I've been on the struggle bus before. I figure this is for a reason. It'll work out. And you know what? There's always next time. I can always do another book launch. I can always get another job. But going through it is very difficult. And you got to have your guys around. You got to have somebody you reach out to just to vent, just to talk about it. Because I know I was in the midst of it. And luckily, got a crew of guys around me that were reached out just to check on me. And luckily, there's only a couple of days where I was really deep in it. And then I started looking at the bigger picture and widen my vision and going, okay, there's more out there. This isn't it. But it was rough. I'm not saying it wasn't rough. It was rough. But sometimes the struggle bus is there to teach you something.
Hmm. Man, I'm telling you, I mean that, and sometimes, sometimes it's the whole thing when it rains, it pours or whatever,
Yes,
and
sir.
a lot of times things can kind of hit you back to back to back. Um, and man, I've definitely been in those places, and have experienced that too, and it sucks, man, and and that's just through this whole thing, even though we're taking the optimistic approach, I think, because that's just kind of who we are. The reality is these things suck, man. I mean, the
Mhm.
reality is when you go through these cycles and these seasons, I mean, it's not fun. I mean, it is absolutely not fun at all, and especially when things come back to back to back, and you just end up, it's like you don't realize necessarily you in a slump until the third or fourth thing hits you. And then it's like, wait a minute, man,
Hang on a second.
I think I'm officially in a slump here.
Yep.
And battling your way back through that thing. And yeah, man, I think from a career perspective and a professional perspective, and guys are tied to a lot of guys, generally speaking, a lot of guys are tied identity wise to work and being able to work and being able to produce income and to be able to make money. And some people are not as identity focused in their career as other people. Some people, that's just who they are, and without that, they have no sense of anything. But in any case, when those things happen from a professional or career perspective, man, there's really no way around it. You got to go through it. There's really no way around the experience. There's no way around the just the challenge of it all. There's no way around the disappointment. There's no way around the sense of, I don't know, punch in the gut or whatever it is. And like I said, man, I've been unfortunately, you know, just by attrition laid off from different corporations and different companies over my life multiple times. And and when you have to do a reset, it does suck, man. There's no other way to describe it. There's no other way around that
Yeah, and it's tough because especially, we can try to plan for cycles, but we never know when they're gonna hit. It's not
thing.
like you see it on the calendar. Oh, next week struggle bus. Oh, next
Hmm.
month struggle bus. You don't know what's coming. You can try to prepare for it, but when it happens, it always feels like it's out of the blue. Like you had plans. We had plans for this vacation. We had plans for this thing. I had plans to do this. I had plans to do that. And well, all those plans are out the window. Now we got to readjust. Now we got to drop everything. It's like a house of cards. Now, that house of cards has just hit the table. Now it's just a
Hmm.
mess. Now we got to clean up the mess. We got to feel it to heal it. We got to look at it objectively, try to step back and go, okay, well, what is this teaching me? What can I learn from this? Maybe I wasn't supposed to do that, or maybe the timing's off. Maybe it's a full moon and everybody's going crazy. I don't know. But for some reason, it's not working right now. And the biggest thing you can do is step one, you got to accept it. You got to acknowledge it. Hey, I'm on the struggle bus. I'm in a struggle cycle. Things aren't working right now. What can I do right now? What's the one thing I can do right now? Well, I can take care of me right now. I can talk to somebody about it. I can get a different perspective. I call my boys and be like, hey, I'm on the struggle bus. Like, I don't know what's going on. Everything just fell apart. And then get some perspective, get some outside influence, get some, support. For a lot of guys, I think that's almost like a four-letter word nowadays. Most guys think they got to white knuckle it, do it alone. We all need support. And I'm the biggest isolationist. I'm one of these guys like, I don't want to bother anybody. I don't want to bother Kirk. I don't want to bother the other guys with all my junk. They got their stuff going on. They got enough to deal with. That's what your boys are for. And believe me, it's worse for them if they find out after the fact that you were struggling. If you don't tell them, they're gonna be mad at you because you didn't reach out for support. They're gonna be mad at you because part of being your boy, part of being your friend, part of being crew is to be there in the hard times. And that's what friendship's about. And that's what being supportive is about. But for so many of us just think it's up to me. I got to carry the whole weight of the world on my shoulders and I can't reach out for help because that's weak. That's wussy. Oh, I can't do all that. I can't be actually asking for help, because that makes me look weak or something. But courage comes from reaching out. Courage comes from feeling it and asking for support. You got to feel it to heal it, but you also need support so that you can get through it. So make sure you get some guys around you. Make sure you do something that gets you support, whether it's a preacher, whether it's a pastor, whether it's a therapist or a coach or a counselor. Make sure you have some, especially when you're going through it, because a lot of times, like I said before, you get so focused on the struggle, you get so focused on the negative, you can't see the forest for the trees. You can't see the sun coming up. You can only see the darkness that you're in. So you got to have those around you to help you lift your head up.
Yeah. When it's a career thing, when it's a career slump, I guess you could say, I think I'm thinking about a picture of a baseball player, a batter in a slump, and the answer is not to stop going to bat. The answer is not to stop putting on the uniform, and the answer is not that you're not a player because you're in a slump. The answer is to keep at it. The answer is to keep in motion. Keep doing something. The temptation is to just shut it down and just wallow and all that kind of stuff. But really, like I said, even if you use a baseball player analogy, and baseball players, man, you go to the Hall of Fame if you hit the ball 3 times out of 10. I mean, if you strike out 7 times out of 10, you still go to the Hall of Fame at the end of a long career. I mean, and so slumps are just part of that particular sport. And so you got to think about it. For these guys to play 10, 15, however many years these guys play, how many times have they been in a batting slump? And so again, like I said, the answer is to keep moving. The answer is to keep active. The answer is to get out, do something. I mean, if it's going to play a round of golf, if it's going to, going up to the hub and signing up to be a Uber or Lyft driver and just, cracking open the app and just Uber driving for a while. I don't know, whatever it is, volunteering somewhere, something. Just asking people around you if they need some help around the house with something. But just staying active is huge. Staying active is what's going to keep you out of the mental slump that life may have you in terms of like career or any other kind of way.
You are once again absolutely right, sir. Mr. Samuels, he's wise beyond his years, because if you follow me
Been
on
there,
social
done
media at all, yeah, he's been there, done that, and he knows. If you follow me on social media at all, I just put a post up there. It's like, if you feel like a failure in life and if your mood is sour, go play golf. Because even if you still feel like a failure, at least you're playing golf. And I
Yeah.
put that up there not as a joke, but that was for real stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I reached out to Kirk and was like, "Hey, man, I am on the struggle bus. I'm driving the struggle bus. It's for real." And he's like, "Go play golf. Here's some money. Go play golf." And so I went and played some golf, and it definitely helped. Like, just open my perspective. It's like, and of course, it's golf. It's a nice day. You meet some cool people. You get to go out there, hit some balls, and it just shifts your perspective. And so, like I said, you can take a day or two and be in the midst of your junk and be all in the muck. But after that, get up, open the windows, open the blinds, get outside, go do something. Because just movement, just moving the energy in your body. Emotions are energy in motion. So get in motion if you're feeling emotional. Do something. Move your body, go for a hike, go play golf, go for a run, do something. But just keep it moving. It's when you get
Movement is
stagnant. It's up. Yeah.
movement is huge, man. We don't give enough credit to just literally movement, just moving, just in motion. I mean, you can go up to almost any pickleball court and just sit there, and eventually somebody will ask you if you want to play, and I don't know how, and pickleball people are cool. They'll teach you how to play, man. It's basically ping pong, but you're standing on the table. Um, I mean, and so but going, like I said, going anywhere, going to a rec center, going to volunteer somewhere, going to whatever it is. I mean, all kinds of opportunities, going to, I don't know, a food bank, but going, and again, man, if you got a set of clubs, hit a golf course if it's not in the middle of the winter or whatever. Golf is about failure. I mean,
Yes.
it's like, the whole sport is about failure, but eventually you hit the ball enough times, you're going to get it in the hole. Right. I
Mhm.
mean, and so you might have a 15 on a par five, but eventually you're going to get it there. And so we don't give movement enough credit, man, but that's
Yeah.
that's important. And speaking of movement, we're going to move, man.
Yeah.
We better move to our next break, man. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Men of Masculinity on KLDC. Boom. I'm telling you, man, getting butt out of chair is huge, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's too easy nowadays. There's 8 billion hours of streaming on the online. You can watch every movie ever made, and it's too easy just to be turned into a couch potato and start growing roots and stuff and getting fat with a bag of Cheetos and all that stuff. So you got to get up, man. You got to keep it moving.
dude, they got a new season of Love Is Blind that's out, and I can sit there and watch that thing
Lord.
the whole day long. And this season is in Denver too, so it's
Uh-oh.
all.
But I know that dude.
Yeah. I was curious if I did, because they did Married at First Sight in Denver too, and I was like, I wonder if I know. But all these kids are like 20-something years old, man.
Oh
They
yeah.
20 years old. I don't know none of these fools.
We don't be hanging out with them youngins that much.
No.
All right, what are we doing for the fourth quarter?
Just wrapping it up in encouragement.
Let's wrap it up. All right, let's do it. Yes, we're back. Welcome back to the Mad Men Show. We're on the struggle bus, y'all.
Talking about the struggle bus, and man, we're just talking about, again, it's one of those topics that ain't necessarily a sexy topic, and we don't have some kind of real, famous star on here to interview somebody that climbed Mount Everest and all that. This is just regular conversation, man. This is just regular stuff that we need to talk about, stuff that we need to that is just real life. And and people are going through some stuff out here, and if you're going through some stuff, understand that you're not the only one. You're not alone. You're not the only one going through whatever it is that you're going through. And there's other people, not only other people who who have it worse than you, but you might have it worse than other people. And so, I mean, these are just real conversations about real life, man. And that's what we talk about.
Yeah, it's not sexy. It's not that funny, but it's real. And that's probably why we don't have 8 billion followers right now, because we're not doing stupid human tricks and just making jokes and doing funny videos. We're actually talking about real stuff, and it needs to be talked about. So yeah, it's not sexy. It's not always fun, but if you can get any inspiration out of this, just know that if you're struggling, you're not the only one. Kirk and I both struggle. Our buddies struggle. Everybody struggles. And when we go through it, the best way to get out of it is to acknowledge you're struggling. Try to look at it from an analytical point of view. Like, what can I learn from this? Like, maybe I wasn't supposed to have that job, or maybe this is losing this job or losing that relationship is leading me to a better one. And so I've got to be open to that and get out of the funk as fast as possible and keep it moving. So if you want our 3 tips for how to get off the struggle bus, acknowledge and accept, learn from it, and keep it moving. That's what you got to do, folks.
Yeah, a lot of times when you go through the valleys, the droughts, the struggle, whatever you want to call it, I would say more often than not, at some point you look back and you say, man, I'm better off now than I was then. If nothing else, because you learned something. Having the experience makes you a better person. And that's why a lot of people say, man, I'm glad I went through all the stuff I went through, or I wouldn't be the person I am today. It's the experiences in life that make us the deep, rich, wise, healthy people that we are, that we become, through life. They say in sports, you learn more from your losses than you do your wins. Where you can go back and you can really analyze something, or just understand, or just take a lesson from the L's. And so when we go through that stuff, man, we just got to understand that, okay, one day this is going to be an illustration. You can't have illustrations with no stories, right? And so one day this is going to be an illustration that I give on some stage somewhere in life about something that I went through.
That's a great point you bring up. If you're looking back on your life, if you keep repeating the same things, keep having the same struggles, and you're not learning, if you're not looking back going, "Oh, I'm glad that happened because I learned this from it," then you're not processing it properly. You're resisting it, or you're not you're getting too focused on that failure and not learning the lessons that come with it. And so for a lot of guys, I mean, you get stuck into that doldrums, you get stuck into that pattern. And it's not until you get a therapist, you get a counselor, you get some guys around you who are doing the work that can help give you a different perspective and help pull you out. So if you're looking back going, oh, wasn't for bad luck, I had no luck at all, or these things keep happening to me. Well, if you keep having the same issues, you keep having the same struggles, you're not learning the lesson. God gives us struggles to learn a lesson from. God gives us struggles to test us to see if we learned the lesson. You know, you've had that same girl in a different body 20 times because you're not learning a lesson. You keep chasing the butt and not looking at the personality, or, how, what's her morals and what's her belief systems. Do you match? All of these things are lessons. And so when you're in the work, when you're doing the work and you got guys around you doing the work, then it's much easier to see that this struggle that you're going through, this failure, whatever this thing is, it's just the next lesson. It's just the next hurdle. It's like once you get strong, you put more weights on, and you struggle more to get stronger. You get more lessons, the wiser you get. If you want to know the secret of life, you want to know what your purpose is, it's to live life and then deal with whatever comes. That's life. You are here to live life and have whatever experiences you're having. That's it. If you're not struggling, then maybe you're not trying hard enough. Maybe you need to try harder and have some more struggles so you can gain more wisdom, gain more experience to become that wise person.
Yeah. And when you go through stuff, it just makes you a better person. When you go through stuff, it gives you sympathy, it gives you empathy for other people, it gives you perspective, it gives you depth, it gives you some sense of character. It makes you, just an overall better person because you've been through some stuff. It's not fun to go through, but part of life is just going through stuff. That's just part of life. But generally speaking, when we go through the stuff, it makes us a better person, and it gives us, some pages of our book. It gives us some depth to who we are as a person, and it gives us a life experience. And quite honestly, I prefer to hang out with people who've been through some stuff than people who haven't. Those people, and I'm off the top of my head might know a couple people who, at least on the surface, everything is a Disney movie and everything is great and everything is perfect, rainbows and unicorns and all that. And I just don't jive with those kind of people, man. I just don't. I mean, I get along with people who got some scrapes and some scars and, had some stitches in their life,
Mhm.
can point somewhere on their body where they had some stitches at some point and they had to heal back up. It's those scars that gives us our story and the depth to who we are. So it's terrible, and it's not fun to go through these things. But generally speaking, when you look back after after some period of time of going through whatever it is that you were going through, generally speaking, you're a better off person as a result of
Yep. And to quote the illustrious Kirk M. Samuels, the knight in shining armor hadn't been in no battles. He has no experience. That's why his armor is shiny. He's got no scars. He's got no wisdom from actually going through stuff. And for you, like us, if you're out in the world and you're having struggles and you want to know what to do with those struggles, share them. You gain wisdom and you gain compassion and empathy by going through those struggles that you can share with somebody else and help them through their struggles. Most guys are so isolated nowadays and trying to white knuckle it through every little struggle, and they don't talk about it. They don't share their struggles. So you're not giving the gift of experience. You're not giving the gift of connection through struggle. Marines, Navy SEALs, all military, all men, we grow together shoulder to shoulder, going through something in the trenches, on the football field. We're doing something together, shoulder to shoulder. So be a man and share your struggles and be shoulder to shoulder with your buddies so that you can share your experience. Because anybody who's been through any addiction, anybody who's been through any trauma, they don't want the knight in shining armor. They don't want some guy who's never been through anything. They want somebody who knows what they're going through and can share that experience and have some compassion and empathy because they've been through it as well. So if you're struggling, it's a good thing. if you're struggling, you're going to learn something from it, and you can help somebody else with that struggle later on. So don't get so isolated. Don't get so stuck in your own stuff that you don't share and that you don't give that gift to somebody else and some other man who needs that gift from you right now. There's men out there struggling every day who could just use a, yeah, me too, buddy. I've been there, done that. You can get through it. That's what you do with your struggle, man.
You know, it's funny you mention it too, because especially as guys, we do bond through struggle. We do bond through, you know, we can sit back and laugh at, man, remember that time, you know, it is that, and whether it's a boot camp story or some sports team or some experience or something like that, you know, if you went through something together as a group, you know, just that time that you can, even if it sucked, even if it was like miserable
Especially if it
in the
sucks.
moment, you listen to guy, you know, sometimes I'll listen to all the, you know, the Navy SEALs that have all the podcasts and all that kind of stuff. When you listen to them talk about buds and they, you know, I mean, it's the most difficult military training in the world, you know, but those guys sit back and they laugh, you know, they sit back and laugh at the time when they were jackhammering because they were so cold or all the, you know, just the misery that they were in. They end up reminiscing over those times, and they can bond. Like every SEAL in the world can bond over going through buds. And so yeah, us as guys, you know, we can absolutely get closer by the shared and common struggle that we go through.
Yeah, I mean, you think about like David Goggins, you can't hurt me. And he's talking about taping his feet up because his feet are broken. He's got hairline fractures in his feet. He's trying to get through buds for the second or third time, and he's doing all this stuff. And it's like that's admirable. So if you're a guy going through stuff and you're not sharing it, you're losing a lot of the respect that you can gain for like, showing somebody like, hey, I was struggling, I got through that. You can get through it too. Here's what I did. Take it, for face value, use what you can, you learn from it. But you gain respect from other men by sharing your stories and sharing common, struggles. I don't know what it is about us guys, but the worse it is, the more we struggle together, the happier we seem to be at the end because we got through that. It's like that challenge. Like there's the guys that do the ruck challenge, and they put, not only are they hiking up a mountain, they're hiking up Green Mountain, which is hard enough all by itself, but then they're going to put 50, 100, 150 pounds on their shoulders and then hike up just to make it that much harder. We as guys, we love to struggle. So if you're struggling, take it for a benefit, take it for a bonus, take it for like, this is a, something I can learn from, something I can share, something that makes me more of a man, and something that's going to make me better in the long run.
Yeah. It was funny. We were on vacation and I actually ran into a guy. We weren't, and not at the same time, but we were both at different times stationed on the same ship. And just the conversation of, oh, I was in the Coast Guard. Oh, me too. Or where were you stationed? I was in Key West. Oh, me too. And where in Key West? Oh, I was on the ship. Oh, really, me too. And I would, what ship are you on? And then to figure out that we were both on the, at different times on the same ship. Then we were able to, I mean, all of a sudden, man, we just had a boom connection, and we were just talking about, different, the different patrols that we would go on that ship, and how miserable it was being on the ship at times, and this and that, hurricanes that we went through and went around, and places that the ship pulled in. And what about this port? What did you like that port? And oh yeah, that place, remember that bar? And remember that bar in Old Town San Juan, and all this other kind of stuff. So it is a bonding thing that us as guys can go through, but we need to, above all, we need to go through these things together. We shouldn't be going through these things alone. Life is not meant to go through alone. You should have people in your circle, people in your corner, people that care about you, and people that you live life with, because that's what makes it rich.
Yeah, and if you don't have anybody, if going through it, you're on the couch, you're in the apartment, you just gave all half your stuff away, and you're in the middle of it. I know a couple guys right here that would love to hear from you if you don't got anybody else to call. And if we can't help you, we know other people that can help you, but we're here for you. We're not just talking out our butts just because we want to be on the screen. We got better things to do. We're here to share our struggles so that you're not alone, and we hope that you'll share your struggles so somebody else knows they're not alone. And until next time, that's Kirk. I'm Jason. We're the Mad Men of Masculinity, and we are out.